Welcome to the Entrepreneur Podcast, where we take a look inside the lives of the accomplished and successful businessmen and women. We'll get up close and personal with the founders of booming startups. So lean in and prepare to carry away something to skyrocket your own business. Please subscribe to our show and do leave us a review. It means a lot to us. Now, here's your host, Rajiv.
Hey listeners, welcome to the Entrepreneur Talk Show. I'm your host Rajiv Unikrishnan, and this is the show where we talk about entrepreneurship and speak to great founders, entrepreneurs, and investors. Today we have with us Sunando Bhattacharya, co-founder and CEO of IndiQus. Welcome, Sunando.
Hey, thanks.
IndiQus is a true born-in-the-cloud startup enabling telcos and managed service providers build and launch their own public cloud service akin to AWS and Azure. Sri Lanka Telecom and Airtel, among many others, are their valued customers. Their USP is their integrated approach, combining their cloud management software with their cloud services. Sunanda grew up in Delhi and went to Delhi University and IIM. Prior to starting in IndiQus, he worked at Talentia, Netmagic and Spectranet, and is also a Startup Leadership Program Fellow. Again, welcome Sunando, welcome to the show. Do fill in the gaps in the intro and do let us know what's going on in your world today.
Great, yeah. So Talentia is not something I used to work with. That's another venture I have. That's essentially a headhunting venture I run with my wife. And my primary time is in IndiQus.
Okay. And before we start, what are your passions outside of work?
So I'm a big foodie. I love food. I eat practically anything that moves.
Okay.
And I love exploring new cuisines, new stuff. From there, I photography, and I try to do road trips as often as possible.
Great. So moving to the product, the inevitable question is what inspired the idea for IndiQus?
Okay, so I spent 18 years sitting on the other side of the table where I was talking to customers and even buying solutions around the managed services space, and specifically in the cloud domain for the last 3 years before I started IndiQus. One thing I realized is most of the solutions out there are very proprietary, very locked in, and very expensive as far as the value-added services are concerned. So the ROI for a typical service provider when he's going up and competing with the Amazon, Azure was not around then, but kind of people like Amazon is really not there. And the reason is because Amazon has built their entire stack ground up on their own using those technologies. So the problem statement to me was, how can I enable telcos and service providers, a domain I am very familiar with, having spent 15 to 18 years in the domain, become mini Amazons and mini Azures by themselves and build competitive services in their geographical regional domains, plus leverage their close relationships being in the same domain and having network services running to the same customers, and yet offer very similar or better services to the end customer. So that was the philosophy with which we started. We initially started out as a purely services company. We didn't have a product when we started out. This was 3 years back. So we first wanted to understand the problem statement in depth. So go and do services for our customers, work with other products which are there in the market, trying to address the same space and see the real gaps which are there. And over a period of 3 years, we built our understanding pretty deeply in this space. And then sometime end of last year is when we really started building our own product and gone live a couple of months back. And the key issue which we address with our product is essentially cloud as it is seen in developed markets like US, Europe, and maybe even Singapore is very different to how it is seen in emerging markets like India, Middle East, Africa, Southeast Asia. The way people buy services, the way people consume services is very different. Our platform is purpose-built for emerging markets. The way we run the entire life cycle for the customer is very different from the way it is done on Amazon, and we have rethought the whole process and done it very differently. Stuff like Amazon assumes that you will put your credit card on record and they'll charge your card every month. That's not legally possible in more than 100 countries. If I'm running a local service, I can't have the customer's credit card on record, including India. So So how do you create then a prepaid service where the customer pays for his service before and then consumes the amount he is recharged on his account, similar to your mobile prepaid services or DTH. Secondly, stuff we are focused on is the local law compliance stuff like KYC, know your customer. So we've got a proper workflow built into our onboarding where we get to know more about the customer without this process actually being very intrusive using it through the mobile OTP process.
Okay.
So and a few other stuff which we have done the product, and we are developing the product 6 months.
Correct. Always, yeah.
It's an iterative process. So we get a lot of feedback from our initial customers. We try to incorporate that and improving the product as we go along.
Okay, great. And so, what would the vision be for IndiQus?
So for IndiQus, we are looking at being the platform of choice for cloud providers in the emerging markets. In 5 years, we see ourselves reaching to more than 100,000 businesses across the emerging markets through our service provider partners. Essentially, build the number one digital services platform. So tomorrow, if I have a digital service which I want to sell across the globe in emerging markets, you simply come and talk to IndiQus and we'll in a flash enable you on all these platforms that we have with our service providers and partners.
And the name IndiQus, I mean, how did that come up? I mean, it's a very different name.
Yeah. So you actually write it as IndiQus, QUS.
Quus.
You see our logo, it's INQ or in a different color. So essentially IQ, which we're looking at knowledge service.
Okay, got it.
And Indi is more from India perspective. And initially we're targeting US market. So that's how the US came in at the end.
Okay.
So it's a mix of multiple words put together.
Okay. So to take this project off the ground and make it a reality, who are the key people? I mean, you have co-founders, I think Shiv Kumar and Swati, right? So they were with you from the beginning, or?
So Shiv and I started it out in 2013. Swati just came on board because we are now expanding, and on the business side we are very thin. We have a very strong technical team, but on the business side we are thin. So Swati just joined us about a month back, and he's going to drive sales and business operations with me. And then Shiv has a 17-member team driving the technology side.
Okay, 17. Okay. So when you thought of the idea, I mean, did you do any MVP, or did you straight go to beta and launch a product?
So interestingly, we signed up our first customer before we wrote our first line of code.
Oh, excellent. Okay.
Paying customer, not even a trial.
Oh,
customer.
That's great.
So it was essentially a customer-funded development, in a way you can call it. So therefore, we had timelines to deliver, and stuff really got crazy. So, but when we launched fully. We never had an MVP per se.
Correct.
Product straight out.
Okay. So when a customer wants to sign on to you all, what's the process, or how does the entire process work?
So essentially, we are not really a SaaS platform where you come sign up. We are essentially an enterprise software. And this entire sales process is fairly consultative. So we go and understand the customer's business, how he wants to build the service. We actually have a consulting and advisory service which we give to the customer, where we most of these guys have no clue about how to do a cloud service. They are used to delivering services in days and months, and where we are talking about delivering services in minutes. So there's a huge reorientation required at the customer's end in terms of his business workflows, his approval processes, etc. So first we go into a complete workshop with the customer and understand the whole process and give him, enable him with how he should re-engineer his whole business processes.
Okay.
Then we do the any kind of customization which the customer requires, maybe on the UI, maybe on the workflows or any other stuff. So then that's the second thing to look at. And the end product is delivered in a phased manner where we start one service at a time and deliver the whole set. And then the customer runs a beta for some period with some of his known end customers. And once the beta is successful, that's typically 2 to 3 months.
Okay.
Go into production.
Okay. So that typically involves installing the cloud business management software, right?
Yes, and the underlying technology.
So how does this software work? I mean, what are key features kind of thing?
Okay, so essentially look at it like a portal for both the end consumer, the end user, as well as the service provider to buy, and manages services.
Okay.
From an end user perspective, the portal he comes in, sees all the catalog of services which the service provider is selling, chooses service, configure the service, provision it, pay for it, and then manage it once it is provisioned.
Okay. So the telco or the NSP will offer his services via the software, then the customer will buy it from him and then manage it on the software itself.
Exactly.
Okay,
So
got it.
it's a web portal. From a telco perspective, the telco has a complete product management suite from which he publishes all the products. We are building a reseller management platform through which he can manage his resellers, complete workflow automation tool on which he can set up workflows for users. We are also building integrations to all the popular cloud platforms like AWS and Azure. So the end customer can then have a single pane of glass to view all his cloud deployments across all the major
Correct.
cloud providers.
Okay. And I read about the 360-degree engagement process you'll have. So how does that work?
So, the differentiation of the startup and, the kind of guys we compete against, the HPs, the Red Hats of the world, big guys. So, our primary differentiation with the customer is that we are not just a tech software company. We are people from the business. So, we understand this business very well. So, don't just look at us as a company who will come and install the tech stuff for you and you need to figure out your business on your own. We are a 360-degree consultant. We'll start with creating the business case with you, getting it approved from your management, getting it funded, then doing the entire technology solution, and then in the end, wrapping it up with a complete go-to-market strategy. So we do workshops with the customer where we define the go-to-market strategy, we define the product strategy, we define the pricing for all the products. So it's sitting with the customer, and then iterate on that as the business grows. Be it on the marketing side, be it on the sales side. So we are with the customer on not just the technology side of things only, but also on the business side.
Okay. So you'll also now start providing colo services, correct?
No, we used to do that earlier. We've stopped that. So we have partnered with a data center in India.
Okay.
And so they were running a data center, but not commercially. We enabled them to commercialize it, but we did that for 2 years and realized that's not our core competence.
Okay.
We're doing a lot of other stuff till last year, which we stopped now.
Okay, got it. Concentrate on your cloud stuff. Okay. So, I mean, as per the details you sent me, you had a revenue for around 500K last year, and you're gunning for around 750K this year, going into around 10 million in 5 years. So, all on target or above target?
So 500K is obviously done, and for 750K, we're on target. Obviously, the 150 million is dependent on a lot of other factors, like trying to raise investments right now, because we need to significantly ramp up our product team, our sales team, and do all that. So obviously, that has a lot of external dependencies, but 750K this year is absolutely on track.
Great. And when you look at I would say like the area or the maximum customers are from which part? How would you define that? Is it all scattered all over, or
not really? So currently, being in India, we focused on South Asia primarily. So we have customers in India, in Sri Lanka, and in Nepal.
Okay.
The 3 countries. Then we've just signed up a contract with a telco in the Middle East. That's a market we're focusing on.
Okay.
And we're now looking to also get into Southeast Asia.
Oh, great. Okay. And in terms of revenue, is it like these customers are charged monthly, or is it a lump sum? How does it work?
Yeah, so there is one upfront fee which they pay us for the initial consulting and setup and the professional services, any customization and all. And then for the support and the software license, that's a monthly.
Got it. So in terms of competition, guys like Cloud Reno, etc., would be competition for you?
No. Cloud Reno is like a prospective customer for us.
Okay.
So they have built a lot of stuff on their own. If tomorrow they realize, they're having a challenge in building their platform beyond a certain point of time, then they can look at us, because their core business is running the service. Essentially, a software company powering people to run their service more effectively.
Got it.
But our competition are essentially people like OnApp and Flexient and ComputeNext.
Okay.
So software companies are enabling cloud platforms.
Got it. So you're on the road for funding now?
Yes, currently we're looking to raise about 600K to $1 million.
So that would be your first round. So
First round.
till now, it's all bootstrap.
Bootstrap, revenue funded.
That's great, great. Unlike many companies today. So,
Yeah.
and so you did an acquisition, Amicus Technologies, I think last year, right?
This year,
This year.
early.
So how is that helping you?
So one of the things we wanted to build in our platform is a very strong analytics layer because you have to
Okay,
enable the telco with strong analytics, both from a business as well as a technology perspective. So Amicus had a very strong IP in the analytics space as far as the consumer side is concerned. So we
got it.
realized that same technology can be actually used on the business side. We actually parked that project for some time because we have other priorities, but we'll take that up down the line.
Okay,
Essentially using the people right now for more in our tech development and stuff like that.
got it. So like acquihire basically, right?
In a way,
Okay. So what's the current team size standard?
we are at 20 right now.
Great.
We're adding 2 to 3 people every month.
Oh, it's great. Yeah. So moving out of like product, what would you say are the key challenges faced by, I would say, enterprise software providers like yourself in India today?
So it's a big challenge because Indian market is very safe. If you look at the local market, they're happy to give double the price to known branded vendors because nobody wants to take a so-called
Yeah.
quote unquote risk with their technology strategy. Uh, but if you look at markets in the developing world, in the developed world like US and Europe, there people are very comfortable looking at open source technology. That is now slowly coming in as the stacks are getting mature and cost pressures. So one thing good with the not so bustling economy is that people are under cost pressures, and that's the time they look at alternates to cut down the cost.
Yep. Yep.
And therefore, these are good markets for us where we go and show the people that you can get a better or equal performance and actually save a lot of money that you're paying out on something.
Okay. So moving completely out of business, who influenced you most in life?
Many people actually. My father, obviously, the father figure. That's pretty natural. He's somebody I lost pretty early when I was 19,
Okay.
but even by then, shaped a lot of things in my thinking process and how I approach my ethics in life and my values. That mostly came from there.
Okay.
Then people I've worked with my bosses, my managers, my peers all through my life. I've learned a lot from every. One of the reasons I never worked in one company for a very long time. The
Okay.
longest I've stayed in a company is 4 years or 3 years. I've moved around a lot. So while that's not looked very well in professional circle, but I think as an entrepreneur, that has given me a lot of good exposure. I worked in the smallest of startups, 5 people shops to $1 billion companies with full presence, and I worked in various markets, worked with various kinds of people. So therefore, that gives you an amazing perspective of the world and learn a lot from people and cultures and stuff like that.
Okay. And what would be some of the best advice you have been given?
That's so. I think very initially, I think when I was starting off my business, I think one of the things people told me is don't focus on anything else but cash flow if you're bootstrapping. Just focus on one thing that your expenses are always lower than the amount of cash you're bringing into the business.
Yeah.
As long as you ensure that this equation is right, you will survive long term regardless of whatever happens to your business.
Okay.
So I think that's one baseline I still follow. I think the only report I see from my finance every day is my cash flow report.
Okay.
Everything else, comes behind that. And as a bootstrap company, anybody bootstrapping, I think that's one golden mantra I can give.
Okay.
That your cash flow as
Got it. You worked in various corporate jobs like Netmagic, etc. So when during this entire time did you know you were meant for entrepreneurship?
so this is a very interesting incident. A few years back, I think in 2011, I was on a business trip to Mumbai. I'm based in Delhi, so I missed my flight by 5 minutes. But Jeff was kind of good enough to give me a seat on the next flight. So I had
Okay.
2 hours to kill at the airport. So I walked into the bookshop and I saw this book called "Stay Hungry, Stay Foolish," and very interesting title. And I picked it up and talked about interesting journeys of 21st generation entrepreneurs. I think 20s. So I think the next 2 hours I read about 4 or 5 stories in there. And I got onto the flight, I reached home and I told my wife that this is what I want to do. Obviously, in India, that's not really taken very
Of
easily.
course.
But she's been a very strong force behind me for years, and she was okay with the idea. But she said, we just had our kids, and she had quit her job. She was on the verge of starting something on her own. We first did that, and she started a venture. 2 years down the line is when I took the plunge and started
Great. Great.
IndiQus.
Okay. I mean, so during this entire journey so far, any like low points where you completely want to give up?
Yeah, I think the first year was very tough. We could
Okay.
not get any business, and we started essentially the consulting outfit, and we said that we have a lot of knowledge to share and
Correct.
can add a lot of value, but realized that in markets like India, consulting has no value, and people don't attach any monetary value to that. Everybody wants everything for free. So first year, the grand total revenue was just 5 lakh rupees,
Mm-hmm.
which is that was almost my monthly salary when I was working.
Correct. Correct.
So I think that there were many times I think in the first year where we thought, but once we started picking on the deals and we became a services company and started doing more stuff with our customers, and I think since then, I think after a year and a half, very focused on what we evolved as we grew, and
Great. Great. Okay. So, I mean, any kind of feature or launch coming up at the present that's getting you all really excited?
yeah. So we follow an agile method, so we
Okay.
do launches every week or
Oh,
every
okay.
fortnight. But we are working on a few very key features which will come out in October
Okay.
in 1.1, I would say.
Okay.
Essentially, we're going to do a lot of work in the analytics space and the reseller management space.
Okay. Okay.
Very bullish about that.
Got it.
So, we haven't officially released our product yet as a software
Oh,
release.
okay.
So currently, it's in a. So if we get customers, we say we'll do a bespoke deployment for you.
Okay.
Don't have a standard release out yet. That's why you don't see it on our website and all.
Correct.
But we already have 2 customers live on the product and third one going live. So we hopefully will do our first version release also sometime in that time frame.
Okay.
So this is a challenge when you go and start doing development for a customer from day one.
To
Don't have enough time to
actually launch the product. Yeah. Okay. And where do you see yourself and your business, let's say, in the next 2 to 3 years?
very interesting times. The market is changing. The dynamics of cloud business is changing. Cloud itself is giving way to new technologies like container technology, serverless computing, microservices. So hopefully we would be able to keep pace. We are currently a bit behind a lot of people
Yep. Yep.
with this space. So first thing is catching up, which we'll hopefully do by the end of this year, and then build in a lot of services on the newer technologies that are coming in. And what we've decided to do is definitely first build our technical skill sets on these services before we actually
Okay.
integrate into our platform. We've already hired people on Docker and Cloud Foundry and
Okay.
other such technologies, and they're now building the skill set within the team. Once we feel that we are comfortable in supporting these platforms on our own, is when we'll also integrate into a product.
Great. Great. So now we come to a part of the show which is a quick fire round, quick brief answers. Okay. So when people ask you what do you do, how do you answer that?
I run a software company. Easiest
Okay.
thing to get away with.
When you think of the word successful, who is the first person that comes to mind?
Not really anybody.
Okay.
Success to me is very different. I don't look at my
Okay.
approach.
What do you excel at that people might not realize?
I'm very good at selling.
Okay.
But I just don't sell.
Okay. What is something that you believe in that other people think is totally insane?
I feel that the potential for us where we are to hit 150 million in 5 years is very real. A lot of people don't believe that.
Okay. And your greatest weakness would be?
I'm very gullible. I trust people very easily. kind of get away from that.
That seems to be a common theme among startup founders. And your favorite city worldwide?
Oh, my hometown, Delhi. I
Oh,
love
okay.
so Delhi wala.
Finally, Sunando, any last thought or piece of advice that you may have missed that you want to give our founders and listeners?
Yeah, I think be very sure before you jump into the startup bandwagon. There's a lot of smoke around, and the reality is not as hunky dory as it seems.
Absolutely.
Be very sure you want to be an entrepreneur. Doing a job is not a bad thing; it's a great thing. I think actually, I've been on both sides, so I had my reasons for doing what I want to do. But if you're in a good job or you're on a good career track, don't just give it away just because you want to do a startup. Be very sure about what you want to do. Have a clear plan in place before you actually make the jump. And don't do it for reasons like I want to get wealthy, I want to make. Do it for reasons which are far bigger and greater than.
Yeah. Okay. And please let our listeners know how they can reach you and also IndiQus.
So our website is the best way to reach us. Numbers and all are given on
Okay.
there.
Okay.
We are currently revamping that, so do look at our website maybe 15 days down the line.
Okay.
A lot of new stuff there.
Great. Again, Sunando, thanks for taking the time to talk to us and inspiring our listeners to start their own ventures. And all the very best at building and scaling IndiQus.
Thanks a lot, Rajiv. Thanks. Pleasure talking to you.
Do visit IndiQus.com and visit us at theasianentrepreneur.com to get the show notes, and also subscribe to our show on all the platforms and leave your review on your thoughts about the show. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening, and please subscribe to the show so you don't miss an episode. In the meantime, head over to theasianentrepreneur.com and check out show notes and other information to motivate you in your entrepreneurial endeavors.